Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today we're delighted to welcome a very, very young and accomplished entrepreneur from Chennai, India, Mr. Kunal Mutha. Kunal, welcome to the show. Kunal is the founder and managing director of Naturise Consumer Products. His flagship brand is Only Earth. Kunal is a part of the Mohan Mutha group, which has also established Polytech. Kunal is a sports person and he loves his running and triathlon. So he's run 3 Ironman triathlons, and he's a member of EO, which is an organization like the YPO, which I'm a member of, which is Entrepreneurs Organization. So Kunal, today let's talk about Naturise. Tell me about this venture and your motivation to start it.
Yeah, thanks, Ashutosh, for the introduction. I think pleasure to be on this amazing platform. So I think we started Naturise Consumer Products in the year 2021, just around COVID. This was, again, it's more like a passion project. I think I was because of fitness, I just completed my long distance Ironman triathlon in 2019. And I also turned vegan around that at the same time. And at the same time, we also exited the businesses which I was handling, and we got acquired by another company. So all of this happening at the same time, and with my passion for fitness and food, this was, I feel pretty lucky to have come across plant-based industry, and then getting an opportunity to work in this because it is quite it is revolutionizing the way we eat, and in no time we're going to see how it's going to be in mainstream all over.
Very interesting. So I'm also vegan, I must mention that. But tell me, for a lot of our viewers and listeners, let's start by a very basic question. What is veganism?
So I think veganism is not a diet. I think people do call a vegan diet, but vegan is more of a lifestyle where you're as a person you're more compassionate about to other living beings. You're also more mindful of what you're eating. Is it good for you? If it's bad for you? And also I think if you're having any negative footprint on the planet as well. So I think it's a holistic living where you're conscious of about your health. You're also conscious about the environment you're around. So this is honestly, I think it's a very important way forward for us as human beings because I think we have come to a situation where we are having a lot of issues around. I think like climate change is a serious issue. I think our children's the future generations might have some problems, I think, even surviving. So that, and I think even the health, if you see, we are really living in pandemics of real sort. I think if you look at the lifestyle diseases in our houses and around in the society, diabetes, cancer, cholesterol, BP, all these are like, they've become so acceptable. So I think what this lifestyle does is, I think it addresses all of these issues at once. I think one solution for multiple issues. So that's why it's not a diet. Again, I said, I think people think it might be a fad diet, just how keto came in, but I think veganism is here to stay. I think people, whoever's made the switch, I think you've done it. I think you would do more than I think what I'm saying. So it's been about 2.5 years for me, and I've experienced amazing health benefits. I did it more for the animals. I think I quit wearing leather about almost 12 years ago. I didn't know if that was enough. I think, and then when I realized how our food is impacting the animals and the cruelty involved. So I turned vegan since then, and since I was into sports, I saw instant benefits. I think it just took me about a month to see how stronger or how leaner I am after making a switch.
Amazing. So let me move to your plant-based food brand, Only Earth. Tell me a little bit about this and the kind of products that you have started to launch.
So with Only Earth, we had launched, we've started with beverages to start with. So we've launched oat milk and coconut milk. These are the two products which are in the market. Today in India, we're in about 18 cities in 1,000 retail outlets. I think all of this is done in less than a year. We are not even a year old. So we've been quite aggressive and ambitious in the market. We want to be leading this category. I mean, although there are other big brands, but I think we're happy about that. I think we need big guys to really invest that money to bring that awareness in why this food is good for you, why it's a clean label product, because there are a lot of misnomers. I think a lot of other alternate products are all marketed products. So that's why I think there's a lot of work to be done by us and by, I think, other competitors. So I don't look at them as competitors. Honestly, I think we're all we're working on a larger goal, which I think I or anybody else can't do it individually. I think it has to be the whole ecosystem which will have to support each other and make the change which is good for everybody around.
Correct. And do you have plans to launch a series of products coming out in future?
Absolutely. So we are wanting to basically provide consumers an alternative choice of dairy products. So everything non-dairy. So I think we started with beverages. Those are the milks. Then we are getting into spreads. Then we're getting into, there are a lot of projects in pipeline. I think our R&D team is working on making ghee, paneer, butter, ice creams. So I think everything what a dairy company typically would do, I think we would want to provide consumers a choice, not just a choice, but I think an acceptable, delicious choice where they don't feel that they're missing out on something. So that's changing. I think if you see what has happened, I think the revolution, the plant-based revolution around the globe. Today, I think turning vegan isn't that difficult what it used to be. Earlier we used to you'd be surprised in Chennai, we have a food court, which is a vegan food court. I would never imagine. If that had been in Delhi, Bombay, it's understood. But here we've got a food court, which has got 5 vegan restaurants. So things are changing in front of us in no time. And we're quite excited to be in this space.
I agree. It's a huge opportunity. And I'm sure there'll be some major upside in the coming years. But, Kunal, one of the other things that is often spoken about is this so-called myth that vegetarianism or veganism is not a complete diet, and that you need to supplement it with animal products. I'd love to get your perspective about this.
I think it's absolutely wrong. I think, and people are coming to this, to this reality that it is not true. I think it's been a myth, as you said, rightly said. If you look at all the top performing athletes, be it tennis, I think Djokovic, the Williams sisters, Lewis Hamilton of Formula One. Look at Virat Kohli; he's endorsed veganism a lot of times. Bollywood celebrities like Amir Khan. I think people are switching because they've seen it's not a myth. I think if you want to turn vegan, I think you just need to know what you need to eat, because I think the same profile of protein, what you would protein or the fiber or any other you would get from alternative sources. I think in this you need to probably have more diversity in your food, so that you're getting everything from from different things. And again, the biggest I say this is a myth because animals are getting their proteins, they're getting everything, all the nutrients from plants. So I think what we have done is we've got a middle source, and we are consuming things through that middle source instead of consuming directly. I think look at elephants, look at gorillas, look at all the strong animals. They survive and thrive on eating plants. So it's a misnomer. I think I'm sure it's going to fade away as we are living in digital age. People are they've got information with click of a button, right? So not like early days where you're watching television and you're brain fed on what's good for you and what's bad for you. But today, I think the consumer is more involved in this digital time. So I think this is going to go away. I'm pretty confident. I think because you see so many people in the mainstream are thriving on this lifestyle.
Very interesting. And the other thing that is often now being talked about is the whole concept of the cruelty-free diet and animal rights. And people are beginning to now talk about it. It's not yet everywhere, but I'd love to get your thoughts on how are these two factors now making space in people's minds.
Right. So I think both honestly go hand in hand. Like the amount of animals which are slaughtered every second, or they run in, the numbers are crazy. I think I feel sad about it. And because it's, if it's done in front of us, if you ask somebody to really process their own food, they will never be able to do it because it's done in closed warehouses or slaughterhouses. I think people are still continuing to eat that. So both, I think, if we solve the animal cruelty, I think animal rights is already addressed. I think we as human beings, I think we have forgotten that. I think there are other occupants or other species who are living along with us, and we need to coexist. We are not the superior race which dominates who lives when and what time they're slaughtered. I think that's gone wrong. I'm sure, I think another century, when we will look back at this, last few centuries, I think this would be one of a dark period where, we have literally colonized our planet, colonized the animals who live on it, and then use them for our food, use them for our benefits. But that's not how, nature was created.
Absolutely. Well said. In fact, I was speaking to someone else in the US, and again, someone who's very keen on veganism. And she gave me a statistic which I thought was amazing. 8 billion people on the planet slaughter 80 billion animals every year.
Absolutely. And that's growing. That number is growing.
And it's growing. Absolutely. So moving on, the next question that I have is that there is again another kind of a myth that the primary source of veganism is soya. And you, of course, are doing milk products using oat and coconut. But tell me a little bit more. Why is it that people just think that soya is the only base to get vegan products?
I think people associate tofu or soy with protein, and that's why they feel, I think, if you don't need animal products, I think then you have to rely on soya protein. But honestly, I think I've been a training athlete. I hardly consume soy or tofu. I think there are the whole food plant-based diet, which it consumes of legumes, it consumes of veggies, fruits, seeds. There is a lot of variety if you really look at it. It's just not about tofu or and I think in these days, I think, as I said, even the processed food. I think earlier when you go to a retail shelf, there were hardly any options. But today, I think kind of cheese and the wide variety of plant-based food is available, which is good. Which is not just it does have good amount of protein, good amount of fiber, meaning it's good for you. Those products are available from different sources. You see a lot of these cheese which are manufactured today are coming out of cashew, which is again a high protein product. Legumes again, a lot of people are going back to millets. I think that's been one of the trends. So millets are amazing products. I think which I personally consume as well, which has got diversity of amino acid profile. So there's a lot. It's just, it doesn't stop at tofu alone.
I agree. And yet what I'm beginning to find is that a lot of the younger people like you, while on the one side you are moving to plant-based diet, but the awareness of the food that you're eating is significantly higher than what it is in my generation.
Absolutely.
Why is this happening? You're talking of amino acids and you're talking of other, ingredients of the food that you're eating.
Yeah.
I don't think I have ever had even a thought about what goes into my food, even though I'm a vegan.
Yeah. So I think what's changing is, the younger generation and the millennials or the Gen Z you talk about. I think, this whole bunch has become sort of, they are pushing conscious consumerism. I think where they really, whatever you put in the product, it really matters to them what they're consuming, what sort of impact do they have on their environment. So even I've sort of got used to this as well. I think every time I pick a product, I would straight away turn it around read the ingredients. Which is good. I think I'm happy people are starting to become more conscious on what they've been eating. So so this is here to stay. I think conscious consumerism. Especially with the younger population, I think it is quite interesting how they are changing the whole dynamics of how the food was sold and consumed.
Very interesting. So now let me move to another set of questions. You've come out of a big family group, and yet you've decided to invest in plant-based foods. How large is this market, and what do you see as the potential?
Absolutely. So this is, according to me, this is again a disruptive industry. Just how EV is to, like what EV is doing in the whole automobile space. Plant-based food is going to really change the way we eat. As I'm saying, I'm pretty confident. Probably in a couple of decades from now, more animal-based products, I think, will be plant-based. Meaning, I think more our milks, our meats would be made in factories and not from the slaughterhouses. So that's changing. I think, yeah.
Okay, and are people beginning to move across the whole world to more responsible food habits?
Yeah, I think, as I said, people have become, especially I think after COVID, the health awareness has really, every household you go to, I think people are conscious on how do we improve our health, and that's really making them, sort of conscious of eating good, eating right, and cutting down on processed food as much as they can, because I think they've seen, as I earlier mentioned, there are lifestyle diseases in every household. Like my father is a diabetic, my uncle is a diabetic, like my mom is asthmatic. So it's just not my family. I think I see that around quite common. They've nothing. I keep asking them what really went wrong. Because we always assume that home food or it's always good. That's what they've had all their life. But I think the food is, I think, because there has been a lot of animal products in our food. I think being vegetarian, being a Jain, we've been vegetarian all our life. Even cut down on a lot of other products because of the religious aspect of from our parents. But I think it was just the animal products, and of course, I think that's not one reason. I think there is stress and a lot of other things. But nutrition is the key. I think I would say 80% of your issues in your body is because of the food. You are what you eat. I think that's really true when it comes to your health.
Very well said. So Kunal, I'm now going to move to another part of our conversation, which are, let's talk about your sports passion. You've run 3 Ironman triathlons. Tell me a little bit about how you prepare for a triathlon, an Ironman. It's probably one of the most grueling sport that one can think of.
Right. So I'll just give you a brief context on how I got into this. I think so. I've not been a sports person all throughout my life. All this just started about 4 or 5 years back.
Wow.
So again, I used to be in a packaging business, literally on wheels, 4 hours a day. The factory was located, in Andhra Pradesh. So I used to travel there literally every day. I was sort of frustrated with my health and everything. And then one of my EO friend, said, let's sign up for a marathon. And that's how it started. And running was so addictive because the kind of solitude it gives you, you're just on your own. And I got hooked to it. I think I did about 7 half marathons the same year. And then I think, I've been always fascinated about mountaineering for some reason. So I started following a lot of, the leading mountaineers, how they've climbed, how they've built endurance. I wanted to get into it at some point. And that's when I came across an amputee who's done an Ironman. And that's when I got to know about Ironman. I never knew what an Ironman is. And so that amputee who's climbed Everest, I think he's built his endurance by doing a couple of Ironmans. And that's like, okay, I thought maybe mountaineering, maybe a like a far off, it might take a while for me to train because I'm also asthmatic. I need my inhalers literally every day. Even, I mean, although the frequency has come down in the last 2 years, but I still need it quite frequently. So that's when I looked at Ironman, and I came across a coach who's helped me like literally turn a amateur, like knowing nothing. I didn't know how to swim. Even cycling was my probably. I mean, I just knew casual cycling, but this mentor of mine, I think he helped me throughout the journey, and so it's quite amazing. Right now I'm preparing for another full distance Ironman in Germany. It's happening around July. So it's basically a 6-month period which goes into every race. So it basically, I mean, anybody, I mean, trust me, I think it's not about me. I've told you, I think I've just started 5 years back. So anybody can do an Ironman. I think, provided, I think if you can stay disciplined and follow that path for 6 months, I think whatever it is challenging. It is, it really requires a lot of time commitment. For example, I think I've always been scared of ocean, and but I think you never know which, every race has an open water swim. Like the last race in Italy, I had a 4-kilometer swim in the ocean. The water was super choppy. It was cold. I had a jelly bites, had a bit during the race. So all of that is part of it. What is important here is it really takes you out of your comfort zone, and that's where I have seen the growth in myself personally happen in all aspects. I think that's helped me more at work. Even my parents or friends, they keep asking me, how do you give out time for this, and how do you really focus on work? I think honestly, for me, I think this is helping my work indirectly. I mean, this has helped me declutter my life completely. I've sort of become a loner. I think I've cut out all the unwanted things in my life, unwanted people, the extra time which I used to spend, and rather for me, it's just my workout, family, and passion. I think this is what my life revolves around. So you end up giving more time to your family. You end up giving more time to yourself, which is more important. I think most of us forget that. I think you need to give time to yourself. And this sport has helped me do that. I think I spend almost 2-3 hours every day, especially when I'm training on my own. So a lot of thoughts. I mean, when you're by yourself, so many things at work which happens, you reflect upon them. I think you never get time to reflect upon how your day goes by. But I think every day I get enough time to think over and come up with some solutions which I might not even think of.
How interesting. How interesting. So, Kunal, I've got time for one more question, and I was trying to decide what to ask you. But then I think what I'll go with is, for someone who is doing so many different things, building a new company, doing the Ironman, and then you have some amazing thoughts. Who or what inspires you to keep pushing yourself to doing so many different things?
So, I mean, my biggest inspiration, honestly, has been my father, because of his risk-taking ability. I think I've learned a lot from him to be more aggressive, to not think of what would happen if you fail. So that's been my biggest inspiration. And then, of course, I think Virat Kohli as a cricketer. I find him really inspiring every time he goes into the field. The kind of attitude he has towards his profession. That's something I like to learn as much as possible from. Yeah, and many other. I think my mentors as well. I think I've one thing what I've learned through my a journey so far is to have a mentor in every field you want to prosper in. So I've got a mentor for me in my sports. Even I've got a mentor, a business coach for myself. Similarly, I mean, I'm learning piano for last couple of years. So I've got at least I'm surrounded by 5 amazing godlike mentors. I really every time I meditate, I all I do is I think just feel that I'm getting blessed by these people around me, because they want good, they'll always wish good for you. So so I think that's inspired me and that helped me to go.
Amazing. Kunal, it's always incredible to end a conversation on a note of gratitude, which you have done with all your 5 mentors. But thank you so much for speaking to me. Thank you for talking to me about Naturise consumer products, about plant-based diets, about veganism, about all the benefits of veganism. Thank you for talking to me about how you are building some of your amazing set of products, which is just beginning under the brand name Only Earth. And thank you for speaking to me about the Ironman, how you prepare for it, but more importantly, what it does for you. Thank you again, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. I think it was amazing chatting with you. Look forward to meet you someday.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.